Welcome to Comics in General, and in this video I will be going over some upcoming new independent comic series that are starting at issue number 1 in the month of May. I will let you know if any of these comics have anything prior in case you want to catch up before reading. Next up, Arcade King. Joe, a mysterious new face in Infinity City, has suddenly become the hottest new player at the Roundhouse Arcade. Anyone can challenge him, but no one can win. But Joe's secret past is about to catch up to him when his most formidable challenger yet rolls into town, forcing Joe to combo his powers with a joystick, his fists, and his fighting family's legacy. And according to Image Comics, this comes out on May the 17th. Next up, something epic. Outside of perception, creative thought takes physical form with only a handful of individuals known as epics able to interact with this wondrous hidden world. But for 14-year-old Danny Dillon, accepting these responsibilities himself won't be easy or safe. Lose yourself in a world of endless fantasies and creativity, where superheroes, monsters, magical creatures, and cartoon characters live and breathe alongside us. And according to Image Comics, this comes out on May the 10th. Next up, The Savage Strength of Starstorm. Orphan amnesiac high school student Grant Garrison is attempting to navigate his present and recall his past when a meteor decimates his school. In the rubble, Grant discovers a strange artifact from another galaxy, a weapon known as the Starstorm. And the power that resides within it will determine not only his and his friend's future, but the fate of the entire universe. And according to Image Comics, this comes out on May the 31st. Next up, Star Sign. The constellations of the zodiac fall to Earth, granting 12 ordinary people from very different walks of life the superhero powers of the star signs. But each of them is about to learn that powers always come with a price. And according to Image Comics, this comes out on May the 3rd. Next up, Supermassive 2023. A doorway has opened. Beyond it lies the Holy Grail. Yes, that Holy Grail. But why are Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, and a Dad Lucky all so desperate to get their hands on it? And who is the mysterious woman who stands in their way? And according to Image Comics, this comes out on May the 24th. Now, before I continue, I do want to mention that this is a crossover one-shot of series that are going on in the Massiverse, which is Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, Radiant Red, Dad Lucky, Radiant Pink, and a few other more. So you might have to read some of those to understand what's going on here. Next up, Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer, The Lost Summer. Spike is determined to keep the last copy of his embarrassing poetry from being discovered, sending Buffy and the Scooby Gang on a Fox Supernatural goose chase to New Orleans to cover his tracks. At an antique fair, the group is fascinated by the cassette girl's clothes on display. When Dawn utters a wish she most likely should have kept to herself, the gang gains a first-hand account of the sisters' identities, beyond what they could have imagined. And according to Boom Studios, this comes out on May the 3rd. Now, this comic is connected to the Buffy the Vampire Slayer franchise. I admit, I do not know if this would be canon or not. Next up is Ghost Lore. We all heard of ghost stories, but what stories do the ghosts themselves tell us? An estranged daughter and her pastor father wander a haunted land. You only have the restless spirits, each with his own story to tell, as company along the way. After a deadly accident in which they were the only survivors, Lucas and Harmony Gate can see the dead, an overwhelming amount of the deceased, all with their own warnings, cries for help, and Maleficent alike. But Lucas and Harmony aren't the only ones with this ability. There are other nearly dead, some of which have malicious motivations. In the Conan the Boom Studios, this comes out on May the 10th. Up next, Miss Truesdale and the Fall of Hyperborea. One of the last followers of a failing Heliopic Brotherhood of Raw, the unassuming Miss Truesdale finds herself on the receiving end of the Brotherhood's leader, Tepna Trinus' final vision, connecting her life in a Victorian London to a young gladiators in ancient Hyperborea. Truesdale discovers she now has a chance to change the future by altering the bygone past. And according to Dark Horse Comics, this comes out on May the 17th. Next up, Lonesome Hunters, The Wolf Child. Monster hunters Howard and Lupe are on their way to get rid of a powerful sword. But car trouble leaves them stranded in a small town that was being terrorized by a magical wolf and a mysterious child in a wolf mask. While waiting for car repairs, Lupe befriends the child, and she and Howard are drawn into a war between the townspeople and the deadly beast. And according to Dark Horse Comics, this comes out on May the 31st. Next up, Murder Inc. Jagged Rose. Discover a world in which the 5 families of organized crime never lost their stranglehold on the United States. Now, half the country is a smorgasbord of sex and sin ruled by loyalty and family values, and the rest of the world look on it in awe, rage, or jealousy. Join us as a newly made Valentino Gallo, if I'm saying it right, and Jagged Rose rise through the ranks of the notorious Bonaverse family. Bonaverse. Bonavis. I got one of those right. No spoilers, but Jagger has already proven herself as one of the greatest assassins of all time. And the Pope was like a word. Yeah, that Pope, huh? Next up, survival. When Emma Reed journeyed back to her hometown in Alaska, she was expecting a little more than a intense family reunion at an annual military alumni get together. But early that morning, a plane crash landed in the thick woods near the mountain, and the creature within brings an ancient terror to the last American frontier and returned this unspoiled wilderness into a killing ground. And according to Dark Horse Comics, this comes out on May the 3rd. Next up, Disney villains, Maleficent. Maleficent, Queen of the Forbidden Mountain. Her realm is shrouded in darkness and evil, and full of all the things that go bump in the night. Her soul is cold, hardened by a lifetime of small-minded wanderers seeking to steal her powers to satisfy their mortal greed. Her patience wears thin, her mystical might grows. It is a matter of only time before she descends the mountain and unleashes her horrible magic upon the powerless people below. And according to Dynamite Entertainment, this comes out on May the 3rd. Next up, Vampirella versus the Superpowers. Vampirella and her trusty sidekick Dynamite have become superheroes and are assigned to save the world that looks strangely similar to 1940s Earth. Rife with crime and corruption, and two-faced superheroes who don't take kindly to meddling from interdimensional vampire aliens, can Vampirella survive an onslaught of conflict from villains and heroes alike, all while solving a murder mystery and keeping her precious sidekick alive? And according to Dynamic Entertainment, this comes out on May the 24th. Now, Vampirella has a lot of comics under her belt, so I can't honestly say what you need to read before reading this. But yeah. Next up, Elvira in Monsterland. What's scarier than Dracula? All the Draculas. Vlad the Impaler is back, and he's raiding multiverse of movies to build an army and conquer the world. And only one woman can stop him, Vampirella. But she's busy on the book, so it's up to Elvira, the mistress of the dark and bane of Vlad's existence, to stop his evil plan. And according to Dynamic Entertainment, this comes out on May the 17th. Next up, Pathfinder, Wake the Dead. New party of iconics, new lands of glory to explore, the tantalizing prospects of a rendezvous with Jeb the Factor, and possession of priceless secrets from that undead nation brings a diverse group of adventurers to the Nexium metropolis of Econis. When they find themselves cornered by the city's remorseless death sealers, can the iconics band together for survival escape a city full of hostile wizards alive? And according to Dynamic Entertainment, this comes out on May the 24th. Next up, Catfight. Felix lives a life of high fashion and indulgence. Sure, he steals to get it, but he gets it on his own, nevertheless. When a mysterious character by the name of Strodinger threatens Felix's only surviving family member in an attempt to recruit him into a crime syndicate, Felix is sent on a globe-trotting game of cat and mouse in a heightened world of colorful criminal masterminds. And according to IDW Publishing, this comes out on May the 31st. Next up is Dark Spaces, Good Deeds. In search of a fresh start, teenager Shayna Collins and her mother Rebecca moved to St. Augustine, Florida, where they cross paths with Jean McKnight, a disgraced big city journalist determined to pay her dues and rebuild her career, starting with a fluff piece on the town's upcoming 450th anniversary celebration. When the quaint community's festivals give way to bloodshed, and Cheyenne is a sole witness, Jean begins an investigation and the women find themselves at the heart of a supernatural conspiracy linked to St. Augustine's colonial past. Together, they vow to expose the town's historical sins, but the deeper Jean digs, the less it becomes clear who is Cheyenne Collins, and when there's a quest for truth becomes a thirst for vengeance. And according to IDW Publishing, this comes out on May the 31st. Now, Dark Spaces is an anthology series within IDW Publishing, so I can't really say for sure if you have to read the others to understand this one, or if they're even connected in the first place. Up next, Star Trek Echoes. When a space anomaly thrusts a bounty hunter and their target, a criminal mastermind, into their universe, it's up to Kirk and his crew to stop them from unintentionally starting a war with the Romulans and unleashing a superweapon of foreign tech onto the system. But the strangers from another universe are more familiar than they assume, for underneath their helmets are their doppelgangers from alternate universe. And according to IDW Publishing, this comes out on May the 17th. And if it's not obvious, this is part of the Star Trek franchise. If it's canon or not, I honestly do not know. Last but not least, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures continued. After an accident encounter with an unknown element in the sewers of the city, the Rat King finds his ability to control the hearts and minds of rodents is waning. But in its place, he finds the ability to control reptile life, which is totally make things harder for the heroes in Half Shell. Grab a bowl of cereal and be there for part 1 of the Turtle King. And according to IDW Publishing, this comes out on May the 31st. Now, this is a sequel series to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventure series that came out last year. And of course, that one's more based off of the 80s TV show. So it's possible you might have to read the comic series. I don't know if you have to watch the show. I mean, it's obvious, but you never know. And that is all I have for this video. Thanks for watching.